What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Dojo. I am Carmen. I am joined with Nathmar, Ray, and K Twice here. We are going to talk about the week in review. We've been getting some chatter. People are kind of excited to see what we're going to talk about. It's been a wild week. The first thing that we're just going to address are the drops of the week. So we've got the Boba Fett drop. We've got the X-Men 266. We've got the Marvel Age comic, and we got the Silver Surfer. Real quick, we're just going to talk about what we are most excited about with those, and then maybe some things that may have let us down. Casey, I'm going to throw it to you first. What do you think of the week?
Man, so it's a toss-up for me because, I mean, it was a good week, man. Boba Fett's huge. We know that. I mean, that's big time. Boba Fett's big, and you know, the market's been weird, so it's kind of hard to gauge. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh, like what's happening here? We got all these bots. Now the bots are gone. You know, there's so many things to kind of consider. But the Boba Fett drop, man, I think that's going to be really like slept on. I think that's going to be way bigger than what it is right now. Here's one thing I don't do. I never stack commons, and I'm actually genuinely stacking commons. I mean, they're like $36, $37.
Anything under 40. Yeah.
I minted them at 80. I mean. What do you want me to do? I mean, it's Boba Fett. I mean, I'm gonna keep stacking. I think it's good. I love Silver Surfer too. I think between the two of them were some really tough ones since the last time we were here. But Boba Fett.
Yeah, Nathmar, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I have a different take because, like, I mean, definitely Boba Fett and Silver Surfers are huge, right? One of the biggest Star Wars characters out there, and Silver Surfer also one fan favorite, like for Marvel. The only thing is for like Boba Fett, like I got a comment and of course it crashed like half in price. So I'm like, oh man, I don't know if I'm ever gonna buy another one on the drop if it like drops that hard, right? I'd rather just wait and buy it on the marketplace and get a deal. So we'll see. I mean, I definitely am like thinking twice about buying anything on the drop anymore. Silver Surfer. I mean, I want one, so I'm still waiting for that to drop a little bit. It's still hovering in the hundreds, so I'm waiting for it at least to go back to like list price. But we'll see. I know everybody's wants it to go up. I'm waiting for it to go down. We'll see. So
I'm the one fighting not to let it go down. I'm at like 40 right now, bro.
At least a little bit. I can get one. Let me just get one. Let me go one.
Well, I'm at 40 at under 90 though.
Oh my God.
Under 90. My average is probably sitting right around like 69, 73, somewhere around there with 45. So like I'm stacked for sure. But like
with the limited number and the popularity of the character, I think yes, there is good upside with Silver Surfer and Boba Fett. But I guess
I'm just rolling the dice, baby. I'm rolling the dice.
You have to be strategic too, right? You have to be strategic. So
Ray, what about you?
Hey, look, I love the Silver Surfer, right? He's a huge comic book character. He's got his own little niche following, and he's kind of like Superman in that it's a one-person set, right? So that's kind of a win-win. Boba Fett, I had a feeling it was going to go bad. Carmen, not all of us lucked out to get yours, so
I know, Carmen.
You and your ultra rare.
I did.
Oh, did you?
Oh, you did too.
It was nasty, dude. First time I ever done it. I got 3. Two are ultra rares, bro, and so of course not. I mean,
that's just win-win for you then.
For me, I get to flip one, buy more, right? So I flipped one at 425 or 415. It was one of those two, right? And then I just got another one, a way lower mint for like 290, 300. I think.
It was so cheap. Nice. Oh my God! But I really like this. I think the Silver Surfer is cool, and if you really believe that like there's some kind of gamification, he's just such a cool character to imagine playing as a game as, right? Like. I know whenever I play all like the Marvel Alliance games and whatnot, I always put him on the team because he's a lot of fun. Not huge about the comic books. I got a couple Gambits when they were real cheap, right? Like when they first came, I picked some up between $2 and $3.50. But outside of that, I think Silver Surfer is that's definitely the win on the week, and I think. Nathmar, I think even if you get it at 104, heaven forbid, I think you're going to do just fine.
Are you sure? You promise. You promise.
I don't make any promises, but I think you will do just fine.
Hey, Nathmar, I'll tell you what. I'm confident you're not going to get one under 100. I'll tell you that right now, under 100. But what I will say is that if you miss one, I got one saved for you, bro. Okay, I got you.
Look at the Dojo.
Thank
Love.
you. Love.
That's family, bro. That's family.
It makes my heart smile. So
Awesome.
looking back at this week, I think the Boba Fett was interesting. I think in our group chat, we pretty much called what happened with Boba Fett. I think the UR it's at 294 right now. I'm a little I'm not disappointed. We all saw that coming. But we are in like the bottom of a bottom market, really, in a lot of ways. I think, I was expecting it to bottom out more. I remember talking to you guys on set, like literally yesterday, and I was saying like, hey, I'm looking for like crazy deals, and I'm not seeing a ton of them. I was waiting for, because I had said this, I wanted 2 Silver Surfers, and I got one on the drop for 60, and it ballooned to whatever 180, and I was hoping for it to go back down to 60 because I wanted to grab another one, and I got it at 85, but like it was at 85 for a very short period of time, and then it jumped back up to the 100s. But I think the drop of the week for me is probably Surfer, because the more I think about it, the more I realize that there's only roughly 6,000 of them. And that means only 3,000 people can have 2. And if you want to double up, and that's it's not a ton.
How many get to have 40?
When Casey has 40, it makes it even more difficult for people to have 2. So I like the Surfer drop. I had made a comment on one of the Veve collectible groups, and I had said something about Surfer being interesting to me because it was similar to Superman and Darth Vader, and people like immediately thought that I was talking about cultural relevance, and they got really upset. Like it was like triggering. I didn't know how to respond initially, but what I meant was just the mint size is interesting in that there's about 6K, and if you look at all these other things that have a mint size around that and have a cultural fan base, they tend to do pretty well. If I'm Marvel, I'm studying the Marvel. I'm studying the Silver Surfer trend, and I'm thinking like, oh, maybe we start playing around with 5 to 10K.
Yeah.
Now I know Nothmar is going to say they're into making money. They're going to print as many as they can if they can sell them out. I get that. But I'm just thinking about like long-term community health. It just seems like it might do well. The X-Men 266, like Ray said, it was as low as 2, 3, but now it's back up to a Commons 540, and an SR was as low as like 125. It's at 192 right now. Did any of you guys get secret rares on the X266?
No.
On the what?
The Gambit book, X-Men 266.
Oh, I have 15 SRs.
My God.
Oh
Holy
my
God.
fucking no, my
Wow.
God.
And they're all
Guilty.
under 140, by the way.
Jesus.
The amazing thing with the Gambit, though, I got motivated. I bought 3 physicals of the Gambit, so I'm stacking up on the physicals.
It was the group, you guys. I mean, it was a group. You guys were talking so big on Gambit, and I was like, man, there's very limited supply. I was like, man.
Yeah, they did the 10K.
When I hear Nothmar talking about a comic, when I hear like Jeremy or Sean or you guys talking about a comic, man, I pay attention because I don't know anything about comics, and so I follow what you guys empathize with on the physical world, and then I implement that in this new digital world, right? And that's kind of where I come in, because I'm just an investor turned into collector, where I'm listening to you guys. I'm like, well, if they're saying it's a good comic and it's a low rarity, dude, this is a home run. So when I start to go down, I just DCA'd all the way down, and I kept going once it got to about 130.
But the one thing there, rarity though, it's not as rare as like most of the other comic book. He's a popular character though, and I have a spidey sense that he's gonna show up in the MCU or Disney Plus, because like Marvel is hyping him up. They just released a new Gambit series too. I just bought a copy of the comic, so I think he might have an appearance. Is my bet for Marvel coming up. So you might hit it big, Casey.
Something that's interesting, I think Marvel has done this on several different occasions. I can't speak to the MCU, but when they are releasing a brand new comic book series, you see a VP drop. There's a correlation there. So that new Gambit #1 dropped this week.
Yep. Correct. I got one.
It seems like that timing is pretty regular. Whether it was like the trial.
I own 10, not 15. I apologize. I own 10, not 15. But you'll see my 10th one that I just bought, because I saw that it was going back up a little bit. My most recent one that I just bought was literally this, how much I believe in it because of you guys, was 192. I bought the floor at 192 again to add to my 10th one. So that's how much I believe in what you guys say, because I really think that when you guys say, talk about the comics, and Veve gives us the lower rarity, because this was a lower rarity, right? This was a lower rarity of
only like 10K, I think.
About 500 secret rares rather than 600. So that's still much lower than most is. So I thought that it would be a good idea to at least stack a little bit. Yeah. And hopefully it does pay off. But I mean,
as an X-Men fan, I'm an X-Men fan. I love Gambit, even though the first appearance is pretty much there's a lot of inventory. If you go to eBay, there's too much, right? So but we love him, and his price is still kind of hovering, slowly trending up. The 9.8s I think is near 900, still 1,000. So it's still he's a very popular character if you're an X-Men fan. So
now, speaking of comics, the Marvel Age comic. I feel like there are these not red flag comics, because if you like collecting, collect them. It's whatever.
And I'm not sure what's with that Marvel Age though. Do they have something that's coming?
Okay, so I have a question for you guys. If you guys got time for a quick little question on the Marvel stuff on the comic side, because when you guys say Marvel Age, is that House of Marvel? Because I don't know. So I don't know Marvel Age. And what I was thinking of is what didn't get brought up too was the exclusive House of Marvel drop. Like what is that a good comic too? Because I was curious about that too, and I had a lot of questions from people asking like, hey, is that a good comic, the House of Marvel exclusive?
Yeah, I'm not so sure about this one. I think this is like I thought this was like a dollar bin book, right, or something. But it's fun. I love the cover though. That cover is classic. It brings me back
Wolverine and Silver Surfer.
It was so cool.
It's the first appearance of Damage Control, which played a significant role in the Miss Marvel series. It was on Disney Plus. So
gotcha.
Yeah, Damage Control that's who she was running from.
Oh, okay.
Most of the time, like
I knew that.
Oh, I did not know that. Wow.
I'm 90% sure that Damage Control is the government organization that tries to control
it is. No, I read that. That is correct.
Yeah. So but again, there's those connections, but the House of Marvel stuff case. So you're talking about the House of X and the Powers of X books.
Yeah.
So those books were published now several years ago to reboot the X-Men series completely from the ground floor.
No, wait, I think we're talking about the House of M book. That's the one that dropped during San Diego Comic-Con.
I'm talking about the exclusive that dropped during Comic-Con, because I was curious of like, hey, would they drop a really good book during their exclusive Comic-Con? That's what I'm curious about, because I don't know what it is.
We're gonna geek out on this one. This is a cool story. I mean, it's not like it's not an expensive book. It's not like a high-end book, but it's a key story for the X-Men. I believe this is the time where Wanda said no more mutants, right? And it destroyed majority of the mutant population. So it shows, because like Wanda, the Scarlet Witch, appeared in the Multiverse of Madness. So they're hyping her appearance. And here she continues showing off her power by making all the mutants disappear. So it's a great, one of the bigger popular storylines, but I'm not sure about value-wise. I don't think I'd invest in it, but it is a really important story.
Interesting, man. Very cool. Thank you for that.
Now, transitioning a bit to
weakness.
what we're looking at for, I guess, the rest of the week. Let's talk.
Oh, you forgot the Tesseract, though. Why did they show the Tesseract? That I don't know yet. I don't know the connection.
Go ahead, Case.
There we go.
Okay. It's speculation. Okay. I mean, obviously, pure speculation. But I read something along the lines of the Stormbreaker, right, is the only thing that can break the Tesseract. And so I heard a little rumor from someone saying that the Thor's hammer, we're going to have utility with like what's the other Doctor Strange's thing.
Eye of Agamotto.
Agamotto.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Yes. Carmen, your hair looks nice, by the way. Thank you, bro. I love you too, bro. I love you too. I love you too. Okay, you're laughing at me. I'm like, I know, I get it.
No, you're doing good, man. You're doing good. We love it.
I'm just trying to follow along, man. That's all. I'm just trying to follow along.
We love this talk, actually.
So what happened is I heard that the hammers, each different hammer will have a certain utility in the Viviverse for each different type of tesseract or the eye of the whatever arigato, whatever stuff like that is what is going to create some unique utilities inside the Viviverse, especially with intertwined with the Marvel characters exclusively. So, anyways, that's something that there's also a lot of other speculation that I've talked to a couple people that are in that circle, and Vivi has a lot of things planned, man. This is why I went pretty hard the past few weeks before they went KYC, full KYC, and kind of eliminate everything. So I've got some good ideas of some big announcements that are coming, and I think they're not far out.
Yeah, I think I don't think you're far off, because if you look at the Eye of Agamotto, right, that has an Infinity Stone. The Tesseract has an Infinity Stone. Yeah. We could just be getting a slow rollout of these Infinity Stones, and maybe eventually we'll get a gauntlet, and maybe you'll need the gauntlet with the stones to achieve something.
Lightsabers too. Don't be engaged for some lightsabers too, man. I'm telling you, those are going to be bigger.
I'm hoping, and I guess before. So this is a fun conversation. Before we talk about, because it sounds like we're excited to talk about what we're looking forward to, which is going to be that last segment of the show. Real quick, let's just talk about our KYC experience. How long it took us? Was it easy? And did you see a change in the market that you expected? Ray, we'll start with you.
Yeah, so for me, super easy, right? Like I think it was 5 minutes total for me to get KYC'd, super fast. I don't know. I have a hard time. And I was talking about this earlier today. Like everyone's like, well, not everyone who wants to KYC has KYC'd already. And I think that especially like the Veve Collectibles page, like for those of us that KYC'd in a day or two, right, and had minimal issues, we're not going to post about how great it was. It's going to be overwhelmingly negative. The same reason that most people post reviews if they have a bad experience, right? So like, I don't buy into the anecdotal, like, oh, everyone, the sky's falling with KYC or whatnot. I don't know. Everyone that I know was super fast. I mean, it was within a day for everyone that I know that kind of did it, right? So I thought the KYC was quick, and then, we'll kind of get to, sure, talking about this a little bit later, but like the numbers have dropped, right? Like we've seen it. Ultimate Fallout 4 is under 100 commons left, right? Like the market's thin, and all it's going to take is a change of momentum, or in Ultimate Fallout 4's case, less than 100 comic book collectors to come buy one Ultimate Fallout 4. Less than 100. That's all you need, right? So I think Veve has put itself into a position of legitimacy. I mean, San Diego Comic-Con was great for visibility. They got the KYC to say, hey, the app is on path now, and we minimize the chance of bots mess around with the market, so I can feel good. Casey can feel good with his fucking like 40 secret rares, and I think it bodes well with what they're trying to do, right? Like, yes, has it been the smoothest rollout? No, but they got it done, and for a majority of the people I know, it was as smooth as it's going to be. And what more could I ask for out of KYC? Nothing.
Right, Nathmar, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have too much to add. I mean, I did KYC. I went back and forth a little bit because they wanted like specific addresses on my on the stuff that I shared. I updated my bank statements, etc. And I mean, the only thing is I never got the confirmation, but I've been buying and selling, so I'm assuming I'm KYC'd, right? So nothing really to add. It was smooth. I'd like to try to sell over 1,000 gems now and try to cash out. So that's my next goal. So that one, I definitely want to review that process.
Nice. So we're going to be picking your brain. If you can just make a mental note of the step-by-step experience of that, and how easy or difficult it may be. Case, what about you?
Yeah, I'm curious too, because I mean, I'm gonna wait too, because they kept saying that they're gonna, reduce the fees, and so it won't be 10%. So I mean, I'm just kind of like waiting, as we're all holding anyway, so whatever. But I'm curious to see how that works too, because I think the next step is crypto to gem or OMI to gem, and once they do that, it's game over. So I mean, that's the next step for them to get that done. But my KYC experience was not as easy as others. Mine was difficult, and I mean, I'm definitely a big account, and it was interesting because I went through it, and of course, like, I think Ray's spot on, man. Like, I'm not going to go report my bad experience because it got done anyway. I think people are just so impatient, and they're so like, this is stupid. Oh my God, my $50.
Just looking for a reason.
Yeah, they're looking for a reason, because they're not happy with some little minuscule thing, and it's all about cancel culture. Oh my God, let's cancel everything. And I get that to an extent, but like, this is a collectible app that just is brand new. It's in its baby phase.
Well, to be fair, I do see some people in different countries who say that they are unable to get KYC. So it's possible that the payment laws, the financial laws in some other countries are stricter. So, and I don't know, they don't have the same like level of legal documents to show. Like for us, it's easy, just a driver's license or passport. Some of them probably don't have like as many legal documents. I don't know. So,
but at the same time, I wouldn't want a company that just takes anything, right?
Yeah,
a company that is legitimately trying to follow the rules.
It's true.
Should
that is true. You're right. I mean,
taking a look, right?
Yeah,
I don't want them rubber stamping.
Yeah, I do feel comfortable that they asked, like, make sure that it's clear, that it's a bank or whatever, So I do feel comfortable that they did try to verify some of those documents that I sent.
Yeah. So, go ahead, Case. Sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. And it's a good thing. You want that to take place with all the KYC stuff. And I was on Twitter. I was asking some people. I was on some polls. And I will say 99.9% of the people that had some initial hiccups, right, which is a good thing. We want to have those hiccups to avoid any more bots, any more fake gems, diluted gems. We want to get all that out of our ecosystem, right? So it was cool to see that most of the people that did go through some problems like I did got it all fixed, and they're KYC and they're good as long as their account was good. Now, I have no sympathy, I have no empathy, I have no care if you sold or bought gems in the past and your account gets restricted. It's so frustrating because I wanted to buy gems so bad and I didn't, and I spent a lot of money in this app. So
me too. I never bought anything outside, so it's kind of painful.
I'm with you.
Nobody's getting a deal like press, right? So.
Me too. I couldn't do it. I don't look down upon it, but like, hey, if you're still doing it, like, hey, you should probably reconsider that. Like, that's not a good idea anymore.
Especially now they've said it.
Yeah, it's open season now on anybody who's dabbling in the dark arts, we'll call it, of trying to get the dark arts of gem dealing. But I think the KYC thing, I'm the wrong person to ask because I've said this from the very, very beginning. KYC was not something that was very, very important to me. I was more concerned with other things that we will talk about later on tonight's show. But the KYC experience for me was good. I was paying close attention to the market. And I will say that I think we saw a lot, almost across the board, any newer, like I would say probably probably not 6, probably any 3-month-old collectible or comic, we saw those numbers like shed, like half, where the inventory dropped drastically. But I felt like a lot of the season 1 stuff, we didn't see it. Like there wasn't this this crazy falling of prices or fall or bottoming out of things. So I'm interested to see where next week takes us. I think you saw like the floors relatively stayed the same, mainly because all of the floors weren't all of the bots, if that makes sense, right? So like the bots got pulled out of the middle, or if it was like every other, if the floor stayed the floor if that person wasn't a bot. So, if the floor was $3 and the bot wasn't the $3 person, then that's there. So it was interesting to see how those things shifted. So now on to the more fun conversation. So we're talking about what we bought, what we sold. We talked about Boba Fett UR, whether the commons at 38, Surfer, are we waiting till it hits 60 and then buying a bunch? Thinking about, and now there's so much inventory across just different things to buy. Are there items that you think are a slam dunk right now? And I'll just say, give me like the top 3 things that you most recently bought because you see the most upside in them, right? So just top 3 off the top of your head. Nathmar, what did you buy that you think has a ton of upside?
I mean, I still go back to like the grails that are under $20. So I bought the Captain America Avengers #4. They're still in the $10 to $15 range. So that's a mega grail. I also bought. I'm looking at the recent buys that I had. I didn't have too many recent buys because I was just looking at all my collectibles that got hammered. So I think it was mostly. Yeah, that was mostly it. I've been focusing on that Captain America. I was looking at the Gambit, but I'm waiting for it to dip a little bit more. And I was looking for Ghost Rider because that's in the $15 range. And the same thing with like any grails that are in that $15 to $10 range, like Doctor Strange. Strange Sales 110 is like 18. That's not bad. But I think I've been and the NYXs. That's those are $5, so it's looking really good. I might consider buying more, but I already have 300, so I don't know if I want to buy that much more. I think I'm overloaded.
You're more than anyone I know, brother. Period. On that one, you stack that, baby. You stack.
That's a number. All right. So Casey, what about you?
Yeah, I'm more interested in because Casey's more active.
I've definitely been super engaged in the market the past 2 days because I knew that with the bots constriction that, there would be some really good deals last night at midnight. There was going to be some good deals leading up to that. You can kind of find some really good things. I found myself mostly in the collectible side. There was some really, really great picks. I can tell you right now, I picked up 9 Count Chocula's from Ron English. And I got them all under $80. I sold my last Count Chocula for $800. And this, for me, it's an ultra rare. You get MCP points. I think the whole set was worth picking up because the other ones were like $20, 15, 13. And I think Ron English is one of the very few artists that is for the people. And I feel like he 100% steps up and backs up all the things that he does and all the fun things. And I think that's a really cool thing that he does. There's Ron English, Kozik too. I think all the rabbits, the labbits, man, I picked up a ton more sets of those too. I grabbed those. They're all cheap, man. I mean, I don't think people are seeing it. And if you look at the MCP, the 2 things that I just said are the highest MCP points on sets. So you can stack a whole set for like under $100. And probably resell it for $500-600. I mean, that's minimum, especially for the Ron English sets too. I think there's a lot there in every set that he has. Who else? I mean, there's so many. I mean, right now I think Stitch is still at a steal. Stitch, I'm still stocking secret rares. I think if you're looking at some really easy flips, you're gonna miss the boat on Boba Fett. That's gonna come like a just gone. It's out of all of a sudden. It's going to rip and it's going to go the other way. And I also feel the same way about Silver Surfer. I still think Silver Surfer is a steal right now. And I will keep swooping up more if it goes under 100. I just don't see it because I know a lot of people that were also very excited about Silver Surfer. And they have more than I do. And there's only 6,000. So 60, what's the total?
I think it's like 61.
Yeah, like 6K something. Yeah. It's low. Yeah.
Ray, what about you? We'll let Casey stop.
Hey, look, if I'm looking at like what I've looked at for slam dunks, Marvel Comics 1 under $100. I got one for 98 last night. To me, that's. I mean, I just don't see how that book loses more value down into the 50s, right? Like if Marvel Comics 1's having again, we got a problem. I like Fantastic Four 1 under 40 if you can scoop it. I mean, again, we're getting to the point now where like everyone's like, well, Nick's is $5. I think it can get to 10. Well, I think Fantastic Four with under 100 mints can hit $80 faster than Nick's can get to 10 because more people are going to dump it on the way to 10. But people are holding their Fantastic Four 1s, right? So like the big three is getting back into a real big buy range for me, right? ASM 1 was almost back into the 20s at one point. Fantastic Four 1 back in the 30s. Marvel
ASM 1 was in the 20s?
It was almost in the 20s. It got down to, I think, 32 was the lowest I saw it. It was real
I
low.
missed that one.
Yeah, it was real low.
I missed that.
Yeah. So like those big three are it for me. And then I think if you believe in the app, you believe in Todd. If you got the money, that's what I end up consolidating a couple things into my second Todd. So I'm real pumped. I got me a 1K mint. Look, I love it. Todd,
Believe.
I'm all about the Todd father. So look, that's you know what, you believe in the app, you have to believe in the Todd. That's just what I say. Let's go.
Yeah, and I think the best thing about a Todd or any of those is they're the canaries in the coal mine, right? Like when the market recovers, the first thing we start to see move is pretty much that, and you can kind of watch the waterfall. For me, I think the most upside right now. I have that 10x rule that I've just been trying to really think about. Like, what do I think is most likely in the 10x? And I think that I still think X-Men 244, that Jubilee comic, it's because it swings, it's up to $3 now, and it was at $2. And it's like if it regularly swings up to $3 and it regularly swings down to $2, I'm just gonna buy it when it swings down to $2, because I think that hitting 20 on a pump is not unheard of. Like, that's not absurd to think about. The same thing with Cable. I think New Mutants 87 is another one that it's at $250. I can see it going to $20 on a pump. So I'm trying to pay attention to the comic books that I know people regularly buy if they are new collectors and they want keys that are sort of like just really easy entry points, right? And for me, I mean, it used to be ASM 300, but now that is just off to the races now. It used to be New Mutants 98. That's off to the races. I feel like if you're a young kid who wants to get into comic books, Jubilee is most people know who she is that read comics. It's $2.50 or $3. Cable, thanks to Deadpool, everybody knows who he is. And that at $250 is a crime. So I think that's going to be, like, to Casey's point with Boba Fett, when you see it, I think we're going to see Cable rip, and everyone's going to be like, man, can you believe that Cable?
I swept the freaking secret rares again last night when they were down to 80. I got them at 80 and 77, 80, 82. Dude, I have 20-something secret rares of Cable now. Every time I see your pretty face and new haircut, I go buy more every time you get at me, man. Every single day.
I think Cable's the upside. And I think because we are in a down market right now, the fact that Silver Surfer dropped at 60 and is still over 100 after KYC, just think that Surfer, will it be Superman? Culturally, no, but in the app, maybe, only because there are so few of him and he's so cheap right now.
That's what I was thinking. And then there's a lot of people that are holding right now, man. Trust me, I'm not the only one pouring into VD, man. There's a lot of people coming in. We're seeing millions of dollars of gems being purchased a day, every other few days, man. That's crazy to me. That's crazy.
I can imagine people, like, you know, this time last year, I was not a part of this community. And this time last year, people were talking about Superman at 150 or Superman
dude.
Superman in the store. So historically, I feel like if anybody's new entering this and they're like, well, I don't have $1,000 for Superman, but I have $100 for Silver Surfer, I'll roll the
What I'm saying.
So those are
I
my.
don't know. I could be wrong too, but I'm banking on Silver Surfer. I think there's too many people that were excited about Silver Surfer and too many people that stacked Silver Surfer for it to be. I mean, it's just.
And then wait, real talk. Like
he just went and bought one just now. That's what he just did. He just went and bought one just now. Look, I'm watching Nothmar right now. He just bought one.
I am looking at it right now.
One good one.
So
I might get one. I just made like a $400 sale, so I do have money. So
There we go, baby. Let's go.
Just wait until the nerds. I'm including myself in this conversation. Wait until Galactus drops, and everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, it would be cool to have Galactus outside of my vault, like standing giant in the air, and then Silver Surfer like flying by him." That would be
No, I am jealous of your post, and I do want to post like a VR of Silver Surfer outside in one of the scenes. So
it's
I
cool.
think that is one of the reasons I want to get one. So.
It's cool. Yeah. So I will. The last thing I do want to just address. I'm going to agree with Ray heavily on the Fantastic Four 1 specifically, because really I feel like that's the grail of grails more than MC1, only because it's just not mainstream. Like you don't know about the MC1 comic book, and it's not inundated in pop culture unless you've been what's up?
Which one is that? I'm sorry.
Marvel Comics 1.
Fantastic Four 1.
Fantastic Four 1.
Yeah, I think Fantastic Four 1 just has a little bit more upside. Just because when people jump in and enter the app, they're gonna look at Marvel Comics 1 and they're gonna be like, okay, it's really expensive because it's old, but I'm just not. It's gonna be hard for people to connect, I think, with MC1 the same way that people will connect with Fantastic Four 1. And because that's, I guess.
And the movie's dropping. They just said the movie's dropping in 2 years? And it's going to be, I mean, they're not going to get it wrong.
And the physical book, too, I saw it got featured that the price is pumping for the Fantastic Four 1 physical. So,
yeah, all signs point in that direction. And, like, if you're a long-term holder right now, you're not buying Fantastic Four to sell next week. You're buying Fantastic Four and you're like, oh, there's a movie coming out in 2 years. So I'm gonna hold until the trailer for the movie drops, and then I'll see how that's working out. Go ahead.
Again, that's just I just don't think that book. I mean, like we're getting to the point now where that book is going to 2x before a lot of the other cheaper books do. Although, I have to agree, Strange Tales 110 is another book that I really like. That I think for 15, or Moon Knight at $7. I mean, that's also like a.
Yep, I'm pretty close to stacking on Moon Knight. I'm just waiting for it to hit like $6 or $5. So
is 4.3K a good price for the Fantastic Four #1?
The SR.
Yeah, the SR.
I don't know what the high was.
Yeah, definitely over 10K at one time, right? So
I don't know. I don't know if my VV Vault works, but I think if I go to the historic data, it'll give me that.
Yeah, I got no.
It'll give me the. Hold on, let me see.
There's a 4-digit 8020 for 5K. And 4250 for 5.2K. I just feel like those are. I don't know. I wouldn't know. You know what I mean? I'd rather buy 3 Todds at that price.
So here's what I'll say. According to VV Vault, their historic.
I was like, oh, this Fantastic Four talk. I'll go check this out. And then I was like, oh man. But then going back to what me and Carmen focus on is a 10X. I'm like, man, would I buy one Fantastic Four at 4.5K? Would I buy 3 Todds? I'm like, ooh, man.
Big Todd.
So the Fantastic Four 1's historical high, 21K. Its high was 21,000 in January during the pump. But to your point, That's only 4x. Like, why would you invest in 4x? I mean, at that point, you may just want to buy $5,000 worth of FF1 commons because I think at 40, I think it'll go to 400.
It hit 380 or 390 on the pump, didn't it? The last of January. Yeah.
So that's kind of what you got to worry about.
Again, like, and even consider a 5x, right? Like, I could definitely see it hit 200 before Nyx hits 25, right?
And you know do that, and you can kind of get that. You've got that safety net. You know, when you buy a secret rare for 4.55K, you're kind of thinking, okay, well, what's going to be the biggest X on this? And that's where I would know, and I'd rather gamble on, like, you know, Gambit, which was 130, 140, stack 10 of those, and at least get a 5x rather than, you know, I don't know. You just gotta get.
It's way more fungible too, right?
A little bit more educated on the app, on VB itself, right? Because if they're just going in there as a collector and they're not really understanding, like, hey, there's a market that's kind of tight right now, and we just finally narrowed it down even smaller, so the volume's even more reduced now. So, like, hey, let's be careful till we get some more people. New users might not know that, and I want to caution new users to jump in, you know, when they're really evaluating, because the biggest thing, what I don't want to happen is I don't want a new user to come in and say, oh, I'm going to go to this Facebook and see all this negative energy, negative stuff, and then go on here, buy a comic and it does nothing for 6 months while everything else is ripping, and they're like, oh, this is stupid, you know. I want a 4.5K gem user to spread that across and get some sets for MCP. I want to see education. I want to see value being given to these new users, and I think that's so important. And I think we're missing a lot of that on the Facebooks and social medias. And I really think we got to really give some good education to these new users, because we need new users, right? If we don't have new users, we've got nothing. We've got nothing either in ourselves.
Yeah, and really with the SRs in comics in general, what we're starting to see now, I think if you're a new user and you think all secret rares are good and created equal, I think that's probably a mistake. And we're starting to see, like, there are only really some secret rares that are taking off, where in November, I think regardless of the secret rare, it was going to be like $500 to $800 come up. Now it's still, you know, it's still better than nothing, but we're going to start to see a lot of these SRs kind of hang at like probably 70 gems if they aren't significant. So yeah, just knowing which SRs to buy and which ones might 10x have a lot to do with knowing the comic book state of things, right? Now, speaking of the future, now let's talk about what we hope to see in, I would say, the rest of the year. Like, what do you hope to see for the rest of 2022? And more importantly, I think most realistic, right? Like, I think we would all like to be able to throw on an Oculus and walk through a metaverse and fight Darth Vader, but that's probably not going to happen. So what do we think are the most realistic? What do we think is the most realistic possibility for 2022? Ray, you're ready to go.
Yeah, look, I want them to focus on the app experience now, right? You've got the legitimacy with Marvel. You've got the KYC going. What's next? Let me have a usable app. I want to see, one, a marketplace where I can search for Fantastic Four 1 versus having to scroll and then it continues to just die on me, right? Like, the amount of times, like, trying to find a comic is impossible now, right? Like, I want to see, and that's easy, right? Well, I don't want to say that. I have no idea if it's easy or not, but what I do know is I think that if you want to bring new users in, let them have a much more functioning app, right? I want to see that. And then what I really want to see is a community built into the app, right? Like, the feed is something, but the fact that we have to list items at 9 million in order for us to find one another to be friends is so ridiculous.
Yep.
So, like, I want to see an app that has a better market, better UI, and then I want to see them start bringing in, one, some social features, and two, I think a leaderboard would really go a long way, right? Like, when the people like Casey can just flex all over everyone, like
I can't believe
Yeah, but see, then all the other Caseys and the Nothmars are all going to start fighting one another.
Casey's on top dog now.
No, look, everyone's going to start, all the big dogs are going to start fighting. And then again, you're going to see a reason for people to really start buying again, right? Like when you can say like, hey, here's where I'm at in the ladder. You know, like I think that's easy, right? So I think those are the three for me. Usable marketplace, some social features, and give me a leaderboard.
Nice. Nothmar, what about you?
Yeah, I like Ray's comments on functionality, but I'll focus on the collectability. So I'd like to see some of the key comics that are still missing, the Amazing Fantasy 15, Hulk 181s, X-Men 1s. But I also want to see new comics, not just keys coming out. So I'd like to see some of these new drops, new comics coming out in the LCS, and they start appearing in at the same time in the app. That's gonna bring in current readers of comics, and then you know it'll add some more collectability for us like collectors who collect key comics, right? So,
you know, a TVP would be nice. You know, like an omnibus would be really cool, right? Like to get like a $20 omnibus where you get like the entire run of, you know, ASM 1 to 100, or I don't even know what it is, but that would be real cool, right? Like actual comics that you could get the whole background. So I would like to see TVPs and omnibuses.
Yeah, the Annihilation Wave. Like I used to have the omnibus before I sold them. It'll be cool to just buy the whole thing and just read them, right? So
yeah, and I like the point about the comic that's coming out in the local comic book store that drops this Wednesday. It would be great if I could just buy the issue on Veve and then keep it moving. And I don't think we're very far away from a Veve exclusive comic book with Marvel, whether it's whatever new series, you know, the newest series of Ghost Rider you can only get on Veve will be very, very interesting, right? Like a 12-issue run that drops every Wednesday. So yeah, that would be great. Casey, what about you?
Here's where it gets fun, and this is what makes this so special. Yeah, I mean, honestly, this is you know, to hear Nothmar and Ray and you guys' collective unit with, you know, collectability and all the other things that you guys talked about, because I have no clue what y'all are talking about. And here's what makes it so cool is that my perspective with in adjunct with you guys' perspective is what makes Veve so special. Because here's what I see. Once we, someone said it in chat, once we are able to go from crypto to gem, or from OMI to gem, it's over. I'm a crypto baby whale. I'm an ETH baby whale, right? Like I got into ETH very early, and that was the biggest thing for me. When I'm able to bring in ETH just straight off the platform, like MetaMask, right? I have to convert. I got to bring in my ETH to MetaMask, convert to MetaMask to OMI, and then bring into OMI whatever. When they start to be able to convert this back into crypto, and where you can buy in with crypto, buy in with ETH, buy in with OMI, OMI to NFT. I mean, guys, that right there alone, just being talked about, is going to change everything. That's going to change lives, you guys. That's where guys like us that are sitting here, dude, I wish Veve would just like record this and like take our advice and implement it. Because if they did that, we'd all be freaking billionaires tomorrow.
If David Yu needs content creators for a show,
we're in. I mean, here's the thing, man. I mean, it's a different beast. You know, you've got these things coming out. You've got MCP. That's going to change the game, right? If you get conversion from crypto to gem, that's going to be a game changer. There's so many things that have already been talked about that they are going to implement. And if you don't believe they're going to implement it now, you're crazy. They already did KYC and cash out, which they weren't even going to do. And they only did it because the community wanted it. So it'd be a very, very, very well, you know, non-biased, centralized economy in Veve. And that's exactly what they got now. And now all we need, and I'm telling you, after all the KYC stuff, when we see the little bit of volume, I mean, we're talking just a little bit of volume of mass users. And I'm not talking about people that just come in and buy a ton of gems. I'm talking about new users that are massively buying gems. Big ETH whales that are coming in buying crypto to gems. I mean, you guys, this is just getting started. We are just getting warmed up. We're just getting the little goosies. They're coming in because we're seeing little gains and fun stuff. But this is just getting started now that all the bad stuff is gone. I'm telling you, man, it's just going to be a good 2020. This is going to be the best November. This November, December is going to be better than the last November, December, and that was record breaking. So let's freaking go.
I'm thinking, like, I mean, for me, I don't think you're far off with what we're going to see in Lambos for All. What we're going to see in December. Well, I guess when was D Week? November? Was Disney Week November?
Yeah, it all started like November. It's right there. Yeah. I
mean, I'm hoping that Disney releases some information that gives us a little bit more. So we've talked about MCP and buying collectibles, and we're hoping that this MCP really pays off. I'm hoping that Disney has some answers for what they expect, like the golden moments and the pixel and even the villains. Like, I hope they have a plan for where these things are going to end up. Go ahead, Case.
I'm going to explode because here's the craziest thing. I don't know if you guys have noticed this. Veve protects Veve. And let me tell you something. They're giving us hints. Mark, hear me out here. Follow me. They're giving us hints. When you watch what they do, they protect the weakest link from the bottom up. What is the most utility things they've given out recently with the most things that make no sense? They did with dinosaurs. They gave us some drop utility on dinosaurs because they didn't sell out. Same thing with the crossplay with the hammers. They're creating a massive utility around these things. So what I'm trying to say is they're just dropping these little things here and there's these little tidbits on the things that don't really matter. Imagine when they start dropping tea leaves on the big things and all these new things start coming out. They start doing the marketing. Y'all want to be Club 33 members? Okay, we're going to drop this bomb right here. Here you go. Oh, y'all want to do this with Ron English? Ron English is going to drop this bomb. We're going to drop this one of one. We're going to drop this one of one. And okay, there's 10 people that have all 5 sets and all secret rares and all secret drops. Oh, here's one more to add to it. They're going to drop bombs, dude. Veve will drop bombs. They're giving us the hints right now. This is just the little things that they can do. They control everything. They're going to put so much different utility. Dude, I'm still so sold on Dan's face. That dude is going to drop bombs on everyone. He literally is going to. It's going to be insane. I'm telling you, it's going to make noise across every market in the world. Every market in the world. It's exploding. All right, I'm done. I'm gonna stop.
So I do want to say this though. Aside from that sort of utility in MCP, Ray's comments got me thinking about this.
Yes.
The app user experience, like our conversations have been mostly on Facebook Messenger. A lot of the activity has been on Facebook walls, Instagram, like those sorts of things. I would really like it if this app gives us a messenger with like literally all of the messaging that we can do on Facebook. I would really like to be able to do on the app so that if I want to talk to you guys or if I want to talk to the group, I can just log into Veve and use the app to communicate with you guys. I don't have to log into Facebook to log into the group to then communicate with you all. And I wonder, I imagine that's coming. I'm speaking ignorantly about this. I know how difficult it is to do.
They said that it was, but the only thing that's a toss-up is because when you have people that have super high accounts, you got a bunch of people that are messaging spam. So I think what they're trying to implement, and this is coming, me and Ray, I sent you a friend request on Veve social media. Now we can message each other because I accepted your friend request, right? They're working on a system where there's not going to be spam. Right, because I see Nothmar, I'm like, Nothmar, you're a guy, bro. Like, hey, I want this and this. And by the way, shout out to Nothmar. We convinced him to buy a Silver Surfer. He posted about. I'm just going to throw that out there. Right
low mint Silver Surfer. Low
mint too, baby. Low mint. But that is coming. I just wanted to say that real quick because I do know that they're working on that. But they're working on a system to where people don't get bombarded with sales messages and everything like that. Mm-hmm. You have to be a friend to be able to receive messages, kind of like on Twitter.
That makes sense. Yeah, I can imagine that if you have a mint that someone wants, that you're dealing with constant messaging about that. And then the last thing that I really just want to be able to do, and I've said this since probably November, I really just want to be able to share my vault so that people can see it. So like
Yeah.
little quality of life things, I think would go a long way. I think they would sell. People would buy more collectibles and comics if they just improved the quality of life aspects of the app. I think if they were to I would actually prefer the quality of life stuff over the MCP right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but
I
that drives users, right? Like if a user comes in, I want them to enjoy the experience because that's going to keep them. And then you bring the MCP, hooks them.
Yeah,
Yep.
I just keep thinking about brand new users. And I know we lost a ton of brand new users in January and February because they joined at the market highs, they bought at the market high, and then they had to deal with bots and all of this yucky nonsense that happened in March, and it just left a bad taste in so many people's mouths. And I just think now that we're through the bot issue and we're through KYC and you can cash out, if there was just some quality of life stuff where people could get on the app and they're just like, well, I don't have a lot of stuff, but I like using this app and engaging with people on this platform. It just gives people more of a reason to stick around, because even if they gave us MCP and I'm a new user and I jump in and I'm like, oh, they're releasing AF15, I can't wait to grab it. Oh, wait, I need a million MCP. I need a million MCP to join, and I only have $100. And now the only people that can get the comic that I want are people that have been collecting for the last year. Eventually it's going to happen. But again, I think if there was more quality of life stuff, it would just improve the overall experience for people who don't have the investment that we all have because we've had the privilege of time, right? We've got
people would try to collect more.
What'd you say?
And people would try to collect more. They would want to be more engaged. They'd be more active, and they would want to, And I encourage any new users, like if you ever need help, reach out, man. Like there's nothing that we don't want to do to help our own community, to help our own investment. And that's a big thing too, so people don't realize that. Like, hey, just ask. I mean, we're here to help. I know there's a lot of toxic people out there because yes, Carmen was right. We did lose a lot of users back in January. And I really hope that there was a lot of people that learned a tough lesson back in January. Don't learn another valuable lesson, which means buy now and buy when it's low, because if you lost a lot of money down now, understand markets always go back up, and VV is going to go back up, whether you want to admit that or not. VV is going to go back up. All markets do. Even our stock market's starting to go back up. Things kind of fizzle. I'm kind of curious about a few things too right now, and it's sketchy, and I get it, but VV's got licenses with the biggest characters and contracts in the whole world. I mean, I don't know. I just don't. The market's going to go back up, so don't get discouraged. Find some good deals, find some small, things that you can tiptoe around in, and just watch the market. Be engaged, be active, and ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Someone will, give you a good answer, hopefully.
And I think looking for deals now, always to Nathmar's point too, like there are plenty of, like, if you're thinking, okay, well, VV might implement some sort of gamification. What can I buy that's inexpensive that can allow me to maybe participate in that? Well, there are a bunch of mighties that are 5 gems, 7 gems, 15 gems. I'm not saying you have to buy 10 of each one, but if you want to make sure that you're in the conversation, I mean, and you're looking for an entry point, those are probably the best places to look, like looking for those deals. And then asking the communities, like, we just did it, right? Casey, your question was, is Fantastic Four 1 SR a good buy? It's at 4.5K. What was its last high? I checked online, used the VV Vault, however reliable that it may be. I was able to educate you and say, oh, well, its high was 21. That might not be the best bang for your buck. I think making sure that we're participating in those conversations is important, and looking to people who have been here longer than you, right? It's like being at the gym. How do you get stronger? You probably want to hang out with the strongest people in the gym. That will probably make you stronger, who have been there longer than you, right? Like, it's kind of that philosophy that tends to lead to progress. So, with all that being said, gentlemen, it's been an hour. It's been a pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for hanging out with us. My name is Carmen. We've got Nothmar, Ray, and Casey K Twice. Have a great start of the week, everyone. Thanks for hanging out.
Thank you, fellas.
Great show, guys.
See you all later.
Hey, later, fellas.
Bye.